Item 197, please.
Request of David Binnig to address council regarding safer infrastructure on bike routes.
Welcome, David.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm David Binnig. I'm a board member of Bike Lab PDX, but I'm here only to represent myself today. As they said, I'm here to talk about how to make our streets safer while also making better use of Bureau time and resources. I'll start with a place that I know. I biked to work for years across I-84. I biked over I-84 this morning to take my daughter to preschool, so I know that area well. Last fall, PBOT installed concrete barriers on Northeast 21st over I-84 to separate drivers from the bike lanes. It's a good change, makes it safer, more comfortable. PBOT installed those barriers after a crash last summer. A driver crossed into the bike lane, hit a woman head-on, threw her into the air, bloodied her face on the sidewalk, and kept driving. That crash was able to happen because the bike lanes were only separated from head-on traffic by plastic posts, some of those posts already missing because they had been hit by previous drivers. I brought one of those posts with me today, but security very understandably asked that I leave it outside. In 2021, 2 years before the crash, I wrote to PBOT staff because I could see that the plastic posts separating me from head-on traffic on those bridges kept getting hit and replaced, sometimes 3 or 4 times in the same spot. And I asked if we should reconsider the kind of protection being used, given that people kept driving over them. After the crash last year, I made a records request to find out how often posts had been replaced, just on the Northeast 21st and 28th bridges. It was multiple times a year, often 10 posts at a time, at least 130 new posts within that 5-year period just on those 2 bridges. We knew that people kept driving over the posts into the bike lanes, and we kept just putting the posts back up. The same thing happens other places in the city, on 122nd, on Cully, on Hawthorne Viaduct. I only know the routes that I use. I don't know every other spot in the city that has the same problem. But PBOT has maintenance records of at least some of the places where those posts have been replaced, where we know they aren't doing the job of keeping drivers out of the lane. So I would ask, instead of sending crews out over and over to replace the same posts, why not have a rule, have a trigger, that when we replace plastic posts 2, 3, some number of times in the same location, that's a sign that we need more permanent infrastructure before someone gets hit. One final note, I think the city has sometimes been too quick to say that things are out of our hands, that what we really need is a change in culture or a change at ODOT or change from someone else. When I asked about those bridges in 2021, I was told that PBOT had limited options because ODOT wouldn't allow anything anchored into the road surface. After people got hit, PBOT found a solution. A few weeks ago, Mayor Wheeler asked a good question. He asked, why aren't we using speed humps to slow down dangerous roads? And then answered that ODOT jurisdiction would prevent that. But if you ask ODOT, which I have, they'll tell you it's a City of Portland rule, that we just don't allow speed humps on most of our major roads, regardless of the jurisdiction. People keep dying in crashes on Portland streets, 15 so far this year. Infrastructure isn't the only reason for that, but it's the factor that's most fully the city's responsibility, most directly under the city's control, and we still aren't doing as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Before you leave, I want to say a couple of things. First, I'm the commissioner in charge of PBOT, so ultimately I'm the administrator who has responsibility for our policies and how we implement them. I want to thank you for coming to testify about the importance of bike safety and infrastructure. I appreciate your analysis around relatively lightweight interventions to protect bike riders, things like plastic posts versus heavier barriers. I'll actually take a look at that. I have Jackson over here who's on my team and facilitates a lot of our PBOC work. So we'll do that. And if you leave your contact information, I'll make sure, well, you and Jackson can talk, or I hope that you and Jackson can talk before you leave the building today. We can make sure that we can close out this conversation.
Thank you.
So, and again, thanks for being here, and we invite you back anytime you want to share some perspectives on how to make the city better. Thank you.